And welcome everybody. We are super excited for Aurora to share with us today, and I've shared with her how we love for these calls to be 30 minutes. So I'm sure she'll open up for some questions at some point, and I'm just really excited to have you, Aurora. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself. If you want to unmute yourself.
Hey, Elasa. I'm gonna this is so funny. You know, my problem with my computer, I just tested it this morning on a different Zoom call, and apparently now there's no visual. So let me go ahead and pop onto my phone so that I can get the visual as well.
Sounds good. I'm trying to see if there's anything I can do as well, but
no, I'm sure it's just some mysterious something or other in my computer. All right. Okay, let's see if it likes it better this way. All right, so I'll sit back a little bit. Okay, hello, welcome, hi. Can you hear me okay, everyone? Good? All right, thank you. So I am really honored and thrilled to be here to share today. I'm gonna set my timer because I'm getting really good at talking too much. So I set my little warning bell so that we have time for questions. So let's go with, we'll go with halftime. Perfect. All right, so this used to be something for me that was extremely challenging. It was torturing me, keeping me up at night. Literally, I would lay in bed and think about placements and placement strategy. And was I doing the right thing for my team? Was I going to advance quick enough? What were the choices that I was making supporting my ultimate dreams and desires? And truthfully, they were not. Placements and I did not used to get along. I rarely took my upline's advice, and I made choices that ultimately, I'll get to this in a minute, I believe that nobody is in the wrong position placement-wise, but I could have made smarter choices had I known what I know now. And so I want to invite everyone to grab whatever oil's nearest to you. If you have Intune, I'm using Motivate today. If you want to use Wild Orange for abundance, frankincense for focus, whatever you want to use, just go ahead and grab something that's nearby and either put it in a diffuser or just inhale it as we're beginning to talk here. The oils that I'm going to recommend later are cedarwood and lavender. And we're going to talk about why cedarwood and lavender is great when you are working with placements. Definitely needing this Motivate blend today. I can feel that from the top of my head all the way down through my toes. So, all right, placements. Now, if you're like me, you are sharing doTERRA because you have a higher calling, because you have a higher purpose in life, and you may not know, like me, exactly what that higher calling is, but with every placement, with every share, with every class, with every step that we take, whether it's in doTERRA or not, we're working toward that higher purpose. And I really believe that through placements, we can truly serve others toward their higher purpose. Whether that higher purpose is using, sharing, or building with our product is not up to us. We can facilitate that, and then we can support it through placements. And I'm going to sort of unpack all of this as I go. And so I want to just touch on a few placement basics, and I am going to leave some time for questions. So if something comes up for you, please jot it down. And I'm going to just I'm going to go over the basic stuff just so that we're all on that same page. So when you enroll somebody, right, you've gone through the process, you've gone through all the steps, you enroll someone, and you have a full 14 days to choose the permanent place of that person in your organization. And so There is a new policy, which I'm not going to talk a lot about today. I encourage you to speak to your upline, whoever that is, or Alasa, if you do your mentoring with her. I encourage you to ask her about the new 90-day policy, because there's 2 ways now to choose placement within your organization. So the first one is that initial 14-day window where you get to choose within their first 14 days of enrollment where they go. And then there is a 90-day policy for wholesale customers. And so if you have a wholesale customer in your organization for a full 90 days, it's really 91 days, doTERRA will allow you to choose a new sponsor placement for that person if they become a wellness advocate. And again, we're not talking specifically about that new policy today. We're going to talk about physical placements. So if you have questions about that, please talk to your upline sponsor. Just some additional basics for placement. You really want to be presenting the 3 pathways at enrollment. You want to be talking about the 3 pathways every time you teach a class, do a one-on-one, or whenever you're sitting down with somebody before and after enrollment, because going through those 3 pathways is going to assist you in the placement basics that we're going to talk about. And as far as a placement basics tip, I really love to choose what I call a trial sponsor at enrollment. You should never go into an enrollment blind. Of course, that happens, but you should go into every enrollment situation with a temporary position in mind, because you can actually choose where you put in the enroller when you put yourself in, when you enroll them. You can choose a temporary sponsor and then have what I look at as sort of an additional little 14-day, you have an additional choice. Because you may know where you want them to go, and at the end of 14 days you may have changed your mind. So rather than enrolling them onto your front line, I encourage you to choose a temporary sponsor so that you technically have 2 moves, if that makes sense. And again, when we open up for questions, I can talk about that further. So I now focus on my team and teaching them to build for rank. I don't encourage them to build for Power of 3 because I think Power of 3 is a nice byproduct of rank. But the unilevel bonuses and the payouts are much more consistent over time if you work for rank first and then allow Power of 3 to come naturally. I have drawn a lot of my inspiration from Australian Presidential Diamond Jessie Reimers. So a lot of what you'll hear from me today is inspired by her. If you have not watched her content, I super encourage you to do that as well, because she has a lot of amazing insight when it comes to building for rank quickly and also maintaining that rank. And so when it comes to placements, everybody does end up in the best spot for them. Whether it's the best spot for you is irrelevant. But ultimately, I really strongly feel that everybody falls into the spot that they were meant to be in. And so everyone is placed properly and for good reason. The details are just the details, but, I encourage you to step forward into that belief as well. So rule number 1 with placements is to let go of getting it right. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is no perfect spot. There might be a better spot or a worse spot, but none of that can really unfold until time passes. And so there is no getting it right. So first rule is to let go of getting it right. And so you have to ask yourself, how can I get to the rank I desire the quickest and still serve others to their highest potential? Because it's not about our highest potential. Of course, we have our dreams and goals and things that we're after, but ultimately we're here with a purpose to serve them to their highest potential. And choosing an informed placement position is one of the ways that we can serve them to their highest potential. And so the 3 pathways and crucial conversations are, the 2 things that you need to feel most comfortable with in order to feel the strongest when it comes to placing. Feeling like you know exactly where to put them, who they're going to connect with. We're going to talk about some factors that involve your decision or that influence your decision here in a moment. So the 3 pathways and crucial conversations. When it comes to taking the enroller, and I'm just sort of going through some bullet points here so we can have a fruitful conversation. When it comes to who takes the enroller, I completely agree with Jessie Reimers, and she is of the mindset that whoever the contact is, whoever shared those oils with that person, they are the person that gets the enroller. If you really, really want to serve others to their highest potential, then you want to maximize assisting as many people as possible in getting their oils for free, or just getting their LRP paid for. So you're looking to help your users and your sharers, just lost my train of thought. You want to help your users and your sharers generate about 5 enrollments a month to cover their personal product. That's about what it works out to. You guys probably all know how to do the math on that. And so when it comes to taking enroller, if you ask someone on your team to do a class for you, you ask them to get 5 people together, and they're not doing the business, even if they're not doing the business, this is maybe counterintuitive to something that you may have been taught or said to somebody else. And again, this is just my personal philosophy, so take it or leave it. You help that person, that host that did all that work for you, you help them enroll those people. We have kitty visitor. So you help them enroll those people so that they see that fast start check, and then you can completely tell them how to structure from that point on. I work with my hosts to tell them how to do the placement structuring that we're about to talk about. So my cat's favorite thing to do is to lay on my notebook whenever it's out and in use. There we go. Thank you, kitty. As a side note here, when you're doing that with your hosts, and this is all preliminary to our actual content for today, when you're helping those hosts to enroll and you're assisting them with getting their own fast start to cover their own LRP every month, you do not want to place enrollments in legs or in positions that do not help you rank advance. So this is a two-sided idea here. There's a 20-minute Jessie Reimers video where she really elongates and pulls this out. But if you're helping a host, then you're helping that host with her enrollments. But the caveat there is that if you have any of your own enrollments from that same event, and Alasa, you can stop me if I'm bouncing around too much, but say you have a host and she's brought 5 people to her house and you help her enroll those 5 people. You're going to help her structure those people in her downline, obviously. But if you have a couple of enrollments from that week or from that event, you're not necessarily going to automatically put those enrollments in her class. That's just the distinction I'm making here. You want to be sure to put your personal enrollments, to continue to put your personal enrollments in positions where you are working on rank advancement, but you want to, at the same time, support those people in their small little pods into getting their oils for free. I hope that made sense. My personal preference, I want to check the chat box here. Yeah, absolutely. If I'm working with a host and they've invited these 5 people, I'm just very clear and I let them know that, my intention is to help them pay for their own personal product, and this is how it works. And this is how they do that. So if they say no, then those enrollments that's a completely different situation. But most people, if you're sitting there with 5 enrollment sheets in front of you and you say to this person, we set up your loyalty rewards template for 100 PV. We process these in the computer. You're going to get a check for $100 next week. Is that something you want to do? I've never been told no. And if they say no, then I'm just very clear about what it means that their people at that event will not necessarily be connected to them. So it's just, again, that's that crucial conversation about being clear with your host, training them how to get their class, filled up with people. And then at the end there, when you've collected all the forms, just saying you have this choice or this choice, and so then you go from there. That was a great question. I'm going to say that when I actually draw this out. Factors to consider, got about 5 more minutes. Factors to consider when you guys are looking at placements. You want to evaluate what's best for the new member as well as what's best for your active leadership. And so for the new member, you want to consider who invited them, who shared the product with them. If they are located near an active leader, if you've got just an isolated enrollment you're trying to place, you want to look at geographically where they are. A lot of this is basic stuff that you guys know. We'll get into the meat with my whiteboard here in a second. If they're located near an active leader, you want to see if there is a good position for them there. Do they have family on your team? I've made the mistake of not connecting family to family, and I don't recommend doing that because later down the road, they get very upset. So if you want to make sure if they have family on their team that, you look at the factors around that. And then for the position that you're seeking, the open spot on your team, you're, like I said, you're looking for legs that are helping you and your rising leaders to rank advancement. So is there active leadership in the leg where you're considering placing them? You need to identify if there's a support structure happening in that leg. If there's active LRP, you don't want to place in a completely inactive position. You want to identify who is actively supporting within that individual organization. And then you want to keep in mind where you've already placed enrollments that month. Maybe you've got, maybe you're working towards silver and you've got 3 legs where you're focused. If you've already put 2 enrollments in this leg and 2 enrollments in this leg, I definitely encourage you to keep it even because you want your legs to rise as evenly as possible. So keeping in mind where you are evenly distributing your volume as you share it. You never want to build one leg all the way up to elite and then have to start all over again. So you want to kind of keep that rising as equally as possible. So the real reason that you're here is for my fun color coding that I do. And I have a very low key setup at home. So I just hold the whiteboard on my lap and it looks a little funny, but it works. So this is something that you can do whether you are starting from scratch with a new leader or you are resurrecting a leg or you've been building and maybe you're not happy with the way you've been building. You can start this process at any stage in your business. I have started doing this with areas of my organization where I'm taprooting. I'm going deeper down into my organization and I'm starting with completely clean structures. So I'm going to present this in theory today. There's my 5-minute warning, perfect. And so I'm going to present this in theory, just with the grain of salt, knowing that every organization is completely different and has different needs. But what's the most fun is when you get a brand new leader and you know exactly what to do and how to help them achieve their goals the quickest. So we're going to say this here is you at the top of your organization. And I don't know if you can't see that too well. I'll get a little bit closer. Let me know if there's too much glare. So when you enroll a new leader, and again, we're just going to treat this as a frontline person for sake of the argument. When you enroll that new leader, and there's someone that either wants to get their oils paid for or they're going to start the business, they are going on LRP of 100 plus right away. And so what you're going to do as the leader is continue an enrollment chain that looks like this. And it can go kind of deep. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can kind of work this deeply. And all this purple color represents you as the leader. So these are the people that you hold enrollment with. And so what you're going to do is as fast as humanly possible, let's use red. You're going to help this new leader enroll their first person. And often, it's hard to tell. It can be a new leader. I have a girl on my team recently who enrolled and 4 days later enrolled a business partner. Her first enrollment was a business partner. That's pretty rare, but it does happen. And so you help this person enroll someone pretty immediately and then begin their own enrollment chain. And you can do this in 2 ways. You can start, like say they had that class with 5 people. You could do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and start it there. And then at their next class, you would do the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now you have an enrollment chain that you've created of your personal enrollments, and you have 2 legs that your new person is enrolling with their own enrollments. And so you want to keep as much as possible, the enroller kind of isolated at this position in your business. Now, that's not to say that after and only after this person has started to enroll their own people, you can throw somebody under there that's yours if you want to, but you don't necessarily need to at this position, because what we're working toward in these early stages is Premier. And so what you're doing is helping this person build 2 linear structures of their own enrollment chain working toward Premier. And you, in the meantime, may be taprooting a leader in your personal enrollment chain. This is what happens. I get so many colors. And so you may have discovered through your personal talks that this person right here, let's see this one, wants to do the same thing. And so there's serious magic here in these linear chains, because as long as you are structuring and keeping the enroller chains pure, all of this volume is going to start to drive upward like so. And I guarantee you what's happening by the time this person has been through your training, you've done 30 days together, you're doing all these classes, and you're presenting those 3 pathways multiple times to every single person, somebody out here is going to want their oils for free. And you're going to start that process again. And so I'll just use the same color since we're in that generation. And every time someone says, I want to get my oils for free, you're going to help them start 2 of their own enrollment chains while maintaining your own personal enrollment chain. Now, I'm going to clean this up so we can go back to that process and review it. And I'll tell you where the secret is. Because I understand that you guys are pretty savvy with the lingo, so you know that in order to advance in rank beyond elite, you must hold the enroller of the people that are qualifying you. So if you want this person to be a premier, this person, well, I'm going to use frontline leaders for sake of the argument, but we know that qualifiers can be anywhere in our organization. But say that this person right here and this person right here are each executives. That's going to make this person, if I can write today, that's going to make this person a premier, right? And so because you are the CEO of your business, your person has focused solely on their 2 enrollment chains. Anybody out here might be building their own 2 lines. Anybody out here might be building their own 2 lines. But you have continued to support what I call backstage. I'm a theater person, so I call this the backstage leg. And when this person is ready to go to silver, you have assisted in creating a 3rd elite leg. And so what this does then is you're just going to call doTERRA, and whoever the qualifying elite is right here, again, for sake of the argument, we'll just say it's this person. You're going to call up doTERRA and say, I wish to give enroller of this person here to this person right here. And so that makes the rank advancement much faster and much easier, because then it doesn't matter that these are all still your enrollments. All this volume is traveling up in the way we want it to, up, 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 up. And so what happens then is that the jump to silver, from premier to silver, is super, super fast. So you've got 3 elites right here. And so we've got only about 6 minutes left. So should go deep in the chain. Yeah, Alasa's asking if I would go deep into the chain if some of them are doing 100 LRP to begin it. Yes, because what happens when, I want to make sure I leave you guys some time for questions. But basically what happens is when these people start seeing the major financial benefit that's happening here, they are going to start seeking partners. ideally what you want is to be finding this person here that is at least interested in getting their product paid for. So you're going to help them. You've helped them here. I just confused myself, I think. But say this person, they started their personal enrollment chain, right? And then they want to get that bonus. That's all you're going to do is help them start their 2 legs. So you just start here and start the process again. Does that make sense, Alasa? Does that help?
Yeah, I was just curious about, like, you're deep down this long chain and all of a sudden someone realizes they want to do $100 LRP, whether they're sharing or they're building, and their next, 2 enrollments or 3 enrollments are 100 LRP. Would you go still way deep with those next 3 100 LRP enrollments, or would you help them build a power of 3 immediately on their
I would still stack it.
Really?
Because once they get to Premier, they are going to be eligible for that new empowerment bonus. And the empowerment bonus last month was $200 on top of the regular Premier commission. So say you've got this person, this is a new leader on your team, and they want to be a Premier, and you want to help them get to Premier as quickly as possible. So you help them with their 2 chains. Because I've got a girl on my team that's doing this way, and she hit director in 2 weeks. And she's about to get up to executive in the next couple of weeks. And she's going to be seeing, because she's getting all fast start right now. So her paychecks are kind of high anyway compared to what Unilevel will eventually be. And so she's doing it this way. She's doing these totally linear structures. And then in the background, her leader is helping here. And so what you're saying is, would you, already it's created that power of 3 structure, because most likely these people are on LRP of some sort, and that it's happening that way in her organization. She's doing the customer care, and they are getting on LRP in these chains. And so then it's, as the leader, it's up to us. If we're the red one, we want to get this person on LRP. Or, once you feel comfortable with the chain structure, you could go for power of 3 if you wanted. But I believe pretty strongly that building the depth for the rank advancement will bring a larger income faster.
Right.
Because
so like on this, like on the leg on the left, you're going to go deep in all the volume deep, whether you go deep or you like 3 down, start making a power of 3, it's still all going to add up to executive 2000 volume.
Exactly.
Okay. I love it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Heather, to answer your question.
Yeah, and Aurora, I just wanted to really quick add something to that, because I have a couple of people on my team on here, and just to be clear,
Yeah.
I agree with you completely on that, because the easiest way that I wrap my mind around it, you guys, was because at first I think we make it too complicated, right? And if you just do long legs like my new builders are doing on their tree now, and just like Aurora's saying, they are growing so much faster than some of the builders who were around longer doing power of 3. So when you build that long leg and you just, built just a long chain reaction there, you start to light people up. So if you have people, that maybe was the 3rd person that you enrolled, and they're only spending, let's say $10 a month, they're buying a lemon oil, and then you placed a bunch of other people below them, all of a sudden you can circle back to that person who's spending their $10 a month. And you can say, hey, if you just spend your 100 PV this month, you're going to make $250. And all of a sudden they light up like light bulbs. So if you just make it really simple for yourself, and you're really disciplined in your action, and you move people in time and do that long leg. And then once it gets to 2000, then do your second leg, and everything Aurora just said, you will grow and rank so much faster. And what ends up happening is power of 3 happens. It just happens naturally after the fact.
Because the magic here is in assisting those people in getting their personal products paid for. They don't have to want to do the business. But imagine you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enrollments that are users. 5 total complete users. and you have gone to them, done their wellness consult, and explained to them how to get those oils for free. So they are going to need to enroll, like I was saying, 5 people in 1 month to get those oils for free if you're doing the math on the cheapest kit. And so that means each of these people, say they're all Aroma Touch diffused kits, just to make it easy on my brain. So this person is on 100-point LRP because they want to get their oils paid for. And so then you've got 500 PV in the kits that they enrolled, just this person alone. And so that's going to look like this, and if I totally drew that out, it's going to look crazy. But just think about that. So that's 600 on a user, and that's another 600 here, and another 600 here. If you are going through this and teaching each of these people, that's an elite leg right there. You just keep doing that process, 12, 12, 24, yeah. So that is an elite leg off of 5 users. That's why this process is so amazing.
Awesome. Is there any other questions?
Aurora, I just had that question real quick about the giving away 1 enrollment. Can you just clarify that for everyone?
Yeah, when you are shifting enrollment to a leader on your team, I have not done this yet, but I will say that my personal feeling about doing it is when it's time for them to go either Premier or Silver. Don't do it before. You can, say that I'm your leader, Heather, you can transition my enrollment to somebody 1 time, and you can ask for it back 1 time. But you can do that with any person in your organization. So it's not just a one-time exception for one isolated incident. So literally, there's however many people that are on your team, you could give it away once and ask for it back once with every single person that you have.
Oh, interesting. Okay, wait, so repeat that last part again. So you could do that with every single person you have that I've enrolled, or?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, I thought that it was just 1 person. I was talking to Charlie. So for the life of my business, just my 3 main builders, Chris, Randy, and Shelly are my 3 main builders. So you're saying I could do that once with Chris, I could give it to her, and I could also take it back once.
Yeah.
Same thing with Randy, same thing with Shelly, and even other people I've enrolled who are further down on my tree. If I place somebody, let's say I enrolled somebody named Teresa, and if I enrolled her and placed her under Randy, I could do the same thing with her since she's my enrollment.
Yeah, exactly. And Alasa, I know we're over, so let me know if we need to stop. But yes, because of course the organizations are not built in that way that everybody's going to qualify everybody else. Say there's a situation, I have one of these on my team where I have a frontline leader who was a user, and I hold enroller over half of her frontline. And some of them have ended up being builders now. And so this, without going into an isolated situation, what we do is we still build under those people where I have enroller, but when she's ready to hit Premier or Silver, then I will transition my personal enrollments to her so that she can qualify them toward her rank advancement. And if it goes sour, which I don't think it will, but if it does, doTERRA allows me the opportunity to take it back.
Okay, that's really cool. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well,
you have another question?
We've got one from Nina. Do you want me to answer it or handle it?
Just have 5 minutes on this subscription. Go ahead.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so how do you handle how they enroll? So you just need getting their social, Nina. How do you successfully get their social?
Right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly, because I've lost at least 1 enrollment when we got down to the Social Security number, and then she flipped out, and I'm like, you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but she just kind of wigged out on me. So
yeah, she wouldn't go for customer either.
Right. It just for whatever reason, I don't know. She just completely did a turnaround. But anyway,
the language that I use now when I am explaining how to fill out the form, I just hold up the form and I go through the top business. And when I get down to parts 3 and 4, I just say it's normally a group or to an individual person. I say, okay, so I'm going to need you to fill out parts 3 and 4 completely. That does include your social security number so that we can verify your identity. Sorry, Kay, we're getting a little feedback from you. And so I just literally say to them, Nina, I say the social security number is to verify and protect your identity. And this form goes into a shredder as soon as I process it in the computer.
Okay. So, and they usually just give it up.
Yep.
Okay.
And if they don't, you know, if someone says to me when I'm going around and I'm checking, they're just like, I'm really not comfortable with this, then I give them the wholesale customer option, and it's usually not a problem.
Okay.
But there's probably a story there with your lady. If she's really uncomfortable giving up her social, something bad has happened to her.
Right. Yeah, she did a complete turnaround.
Yeah.
So that interruption back there. So you just tell them it's social security number because of to keep track of.
You protect and verify their identity.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I used to have that issue too. I got really weird about it, and so everybody else did. And yeah, and then Charlie was like, "Get over yourself." So.
Okay, thank you.
I did. And now I just say, you know, that it does include your social to protect and verify your identity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're muted,
Aurora.
Alana. There you go. Yeah, I hope that was helpful.
Very helpful.
I love talking about placements, and I love sort of digging into individual scenarios. So I'd be happy to continue this on the Build Terra page, in messages. You know, if you guys want to message me, please include your leader, either Alasa or Heather, whoever it is. Just please feel free to reach out to me, but include your leadership in a message.
Awesome.
Love it.
No. Okay, thanks, Aurora. I look forward to helping your team in a few weeks.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.